Okay, so this Thomas and Paula storyline on 90 Day Fiancé Season 12 might be one of the weirdest relationships I've ever watched on this franchise. And I've watched a lot of weird ones. Because Thomas, this 31-year-old scientist from Long Beach, literally told his fiancée Paula 2 weeks before their wedding that she could choose not to marry him if she couldn't stop wearing perfume and deodorant. Now, Thomas has a genuine fragrance allergy, so this isn't just controlling behavior, but how he's handling it, that's a different story. Meanwhile, Paula, who's 41 and from Brazil, is spending his money on miniature furniture because she believes she can manifest full-sized versions from little ones. When her family flew in from Brazil for the wedding, her brother found 2-year-old expired meat in Thomas's fridge and immediately called him crazy. This whole couple is a mess, and by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why fans are calling them the weirdest pairing on Season 12. Thomas Dintino is 31 years old. He lives in Long Beach, California, in an apartment this is confirmed by TLC, exactly 800 square feet. He's a scientist by profession. His Instagram bio confirms it, though TLC hasn't specified exactly what field. And his whole personality on this show has been defined by one word: minimalist. Not just minimalist, though. TLC actually calls him a, quote, frugal minimalist who prefers a stark Spartan lifestyle, which is a very polite way of saying his apartment looks like nobody actually lives there. Empty walls, no furniture, bare essentials only. He doesn't even own a TV. Thomas is also extremely particular about spending money, like on literally anything, which is going to be a huge problem when we get to Paula's family visit. Paula Barbosa is 41 years old. She's from São Paulo, Brazil. And she is basically Thomas's complete opposite. Where he's minimalist, she collects things. Where he's frugal, she loves to shop. Where he's a scientist who thinks in facts and data, she's a manifestation believer who thinks the universe personally delivers what she asks for. She's actually a really successful entrepreneur. She founded a company called Piercing Joia, which is Brazil's first piercing jewelry brand. She's been an entrepreneur since she was 12 years old. The age gap between them is 10 years. Paula is older. And these two have almost nothing in common personality-wise, which we're going to see play out over and over throughout this season. Their meeting story is actually kind of adorable. Thomas had just moved to Los Angeles from North Carolina, like literally days before. He signed up for a beach volleyball class in Hermosa Beach, just trying to meet people and get into the LA lifestyle. Paula happened to be on a 1-week vacation from Brazil at the same time. She signed up for the same class. And here's the thing, they were both beginners, which Thomas actually mentioned as key to their story. His exact words were, "Luckily we're both beginners because that's where our story starts. From the first time we met, we just hit it off." So, they became friends, not romantic, just friends. And this is where it gets interesting. Paula actually tried to hook Thomas up with a different Brazilian woman. So, she wasn't even considering him as a romantic option initially. After Paula went back to Brazil, they stayed in touch. And their friendship became what Thomas called, quote, a pen pal situation that lasted for years, of just being pen pals, across 2 continents, which is either really romantic or really weird, depending on how you look at it. Eventually, Thomas realized he had actual feelings for Paula. So he did what any dramatic person would do. He flew to Brazil to tell her in person. His exact quote about the moment, "I went down to Brazil and I was like, 'Hey Paula, is there anything between us?' Very direct, very Thomas, no games. But there was a problem. Paula had a boyfriend at the time. So the answer was no. Thomas basically flew back to America and had to sit with rejection. But apparently his confession stuck with Paula, because over time, their connection kept growing. Eventually she broke up with her boyfriend. And here's the important part. In Paula's own engagement post, she said, quote, "Thank you for waiting for me 3 years. 3 years. So Thomas waited 3 years for Paula to be ready. Then they got engaged. She called him, and I'm quoting her Instagram post directly, "My dream materialized," which is a really cute phrase from someone who believes in manifestation. She literally thinks she manifested him into her life. So the timeline is, they meet at volleyball, become friends. pen pals for years. Thomas confesses feelings. Paula rejects because she has a boyfriend. Paula breaks up with boyfriend. 3 more years of waiting. Then engagement. Because meeting someone briefly, being pen pals, and taking occasional international trips does not prepare you for the reality of daily cohabitation with someone whose entire lifestyle is the opposite of yours. So Paula moved to America on her K-1 visa. She left her entire life in Brazil, her business, her family, her culture, and moved into Thomas's 800 square foot apartment in Long Beach. And she was not prepared for what she walked into. Thomas's apartment is exactly what you'd expect from a self-described frugal minimalist scientist. Basically empty. Almost no furniture, no decorations, nothing on the walls. He doesn't even own a television. He's proud of all of this. He calls it his lifestyle choice. Paula's response? She's used to a home, a real home, with actual furniture, with decorations, with warmth, and she moved into what looked like a barely furnished dorm room. She tried to make it work at first, but things got real when she visited her neighbor's apartment. 2 neighbors named Felix and Anderson invited her over. Their apartment was fully furnished, nice decor, an actual kitchen table. Paula was stunned. She loved being in an actual home, and she came back to Thomas's apartment feeling more depressed than ever. She actually said, and this quote spread across every 90-day Fiancé recap article, that she doesn't want to live like a refugee. Read that again. She's comparing living with her fiancé in his apartment to being a refugee. That's how bad it feels to her. Now Thomas's response to all of this? He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand why Paula needs more furniture. He doesn't want to spend the money to buy anything. His whole logic is, I've been living this way for years. Why do I need to change now? That's a bad question to ask when someone has moved across the world for you. The answer is, because they have needs too, and marriage means compromising. Now, let's talk about Paula's whole manifestation thing, because this is where things go from we have different lifestyles to we might just be incompatible on a fundamental level. Paula believes in manifestation, which, if you're not familiar with the concept, is basically the idea that you can attract things into your life by focusing on them, believing in them, and putting positive energy toward them. It's a common New Age spiritual belief. TLC's official description of Paula literally says, quote, Paula, a quirky and fun-loving entrepreneur who firmly believes in manifestation, credits her vibrant life, thriving piercing business, and even her fiancé Thomas to the power of the universe and her vast collection of miniatures who manifested her greatness. Yeah, she believes she manifested Thomas as her fiancé through miniature figurines. That's her actual belief system. And she's not casual about it. Paula has a huge collection of tiny miniature objects, miniature furniture, miniature cooking sets, miniature everything. She uses them as manifestation tools. She believes if she has a little version of something, the universe will send her the big version. In one episode, Paula actually used Thomas's credit card to buy, no joke, a miniature sofa online. Her reasoning was that she wanted to manifest a full-size sofa for the apartment, because Thomas won't buy real furniture. Thomas's reaction? He was livid. He considers her miniature collection a waste of money. He doesn't believe in manifestation. He's a scientist. He believes in physical evidence and rational cause and effect. Everything Paula believes is basically the opposite of how his brain works. That's not just a lifestyle disagreement. That's a fundamental worldview clash. Paula bought a rug for the balcony, a $70 rug, not expensive. Just a basic rug so guests could enjoy the balcony space. Thomas flipped out over the $70. $70 for a rug on the balcony where her family was going to hang out for the wedding. Paula also suggested they buy a proper dining table so guests could actually sit down and eat together. Thomas refused. His whole apartment doesn't even have a proper table. Now Thomas gave Paula a credit card when she moved to America, which, for a self-described frugal person, is a big deal. He was trying to make her feel supported, but then Paula started using it on things Thomas thinks are ridiculous. Miniature sofas, manifestation objects, online purchases that Thomas thought were pointless. Every purchase led to a fight. Thomas would question why she was buying something. Paula would defend her purchases. Thomas would call her spending frivolous. Paula would feel controlled. And here's where I think Thomas's issues become obvious, because giving someone a credit card and then criticizing every purchase they make on it isn't actually giving them financial support. It's giving them financial control. Paula joked about how deeply he was analyzing a cake. Thomas didn't find it funny. He responded, quote, "Everything you just said, you're saying to be funny, and newsflash, I'm not laughing." That was the moment fans really started noticing how differently these two see the world. 2 weeks before the wedding, Thomas basically told Paula she should consider not getting married to him if she couldn't stop wearing fragrances. His exact words were, like, "You have the option to not get married with me. You have that option." And then, "I really need Barbosa to come up to speed on this and just accept that this is a boundary that I need in a relationship for us to be together." Now, I want to be really fair to Thomas here, because this isn't just him being picky. TLC and multiple sources have confirmed that Thomas is genuinely allergic to fragrances, not just sensitive, allergic. It's a medical condition. Migraines, physical reactions, the works. So, on the actual medical issue, he has a legitimate case. Perfumes and deodorants really do bother him. But here's where it gets complicated. Paula's not stupid. She knows about his allergy. But she wore deodorant on a hot day because the weather was extreme and she was going to be spending hours outside. She actually apologized to Thomas about it. She explained the context. She acknowledged she should have been more careful. Thomas wouldn't accept the apology. He kept pushing the issue, kept making it a wedding ultimatum, even after she said sorry. So, the question isn't, does Thomas have a real allergy? He does. The question is threatening the wedding 2 weeks out the right way to handle a medical accommodation conversation with your fiancé? And then it got worse, because Paula's family was about to arrive from Brazil. They all crammed into Thomas's 800 square foot apartment, and things went bad immediately. According to Soap Dirt's recap, Thomas actually screamed his house rules at Paula's family, not laid them down calmly, screamed them. Then Thomas actually bragged to Paula's family that he hadn't spent a single dime to welcome them, and that he doesn't even own a television. Like, these were things to be proud of, in front of guests who traveled from another country for his wedding. Paula was mortified, but it got even worse. Paula's brother immediately turned around and declared, quote, "Thomas Dintino is crazy." That's a direct assessment from someone who just met him and discovered ancient, rotting food in the kitchen. The family was united. They started using specific words about Thomas. Crazy, childish, stubborn ways, major red flags. Paula's brother started openly questioning whether Paula would actually be happy in this marriage long term. Thomas's response was basically, "This is my apartment, my rules," which is technically true, but he's about to marry into this family. He's about to make Paula's family his family. And his opening move was to scream rules, brag about spending nothing, and have expired meat in his fridge. So where does everything stand right now? As of the most recent episodes and reporting, Thomas and Paula are still together. They're still engaged. The wedding is apparently still happening, despite everything we've watched. Both of them are still following each other on social media. Thomas actually posted a video of their engagement back in May. Paula wrote a really emotional caption, thanking Thomas for waiting 3 years for her, and calling him her dream materialized. So publicly, they're presenting as a united couple. Marriages that already look strained on TV usually don't get better once the cameras leave. That's the pattern with most 90-day fiancé couples. If they're already threatening wedding ultimatums over fragrance sensitivity and screaming rules at family before they're even married, what happens when the real challenges of life together kick in? Paula might have manifested Thomas, but she might also be manifesting her own way out of this eventually. That's the Thomas and Paula situation. A scientist who's genuinely allergic to fragrances but handles it in the most extreme way possible. A manifestation believer who wants a real home. A wedding ultimatum, screaming at family, 2-year-old meat in the fridge, and a brother from Brazil who called it exactly what it looks like. I honestly don't know if this couple is going to make it. They clearly love each other on some level. They've stuck together through years of long distance and pen pal correspondence. Paula waited for Thomas to be ready. Thomas waited for Paula for 3 years, so there's real commitment there. But love doesn't solve fundamental incompatibility. And these two are incompatible on almost every basic level. If you want more Season 12 breakdowns like this one, subscribe and turn on notifications. I've got more coming. Drop a comment. Do you think Thomas's allergy justifies his behavior? Or should Paula bail on this before the wedding? See you in the next one.